Today on Ian vs. Daddybones, we're adding something new to the collection with Super Mario Brothers movie toys.
Oh boy, kids, we're gonna have fun today!
Yay! Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddybones. I'm Ian Daddybones. I want to say what's up to all the YouTube subscribers. What's up, y'all? I want to give a special high five and a knuck dap to all the Patreon subscribers who throw me $1 for 30 days of bonus content and get their name in the credits. What's up, y'all? Today on the show, we got something new I'm adding to the collection with Super Mario Brothers movie toys. I was out and about last week, running errands, grabbing some shit for my house, going on a toy hunt with Buddy Misters, and while we were at Target looking around, I happened to see these guys on the shelves. And in the past week, from everywhere that I follow on social media and the internet when it comes to toy collecting and what's hot and people are talking about and looking at right now, everybody seems to be talking about these Jack-specific Super Mario Brothers movie toys. And I'm going to be opening up Mario today on the show as I do the episode. For the Patreon subscribers, I'm going to be opening up this badass looking Bowser because he looks absolutely sick. And when I saw this Bowser sitting on the shelf, I knew he was going to be gone in no time. Like last week when I went and saw him, I believe there was like 5 or 6 on the shelf. And when I went yesterday, there were only 2 fucking remaining. So I definitely made sure I grabbed the nicest looking one out of the 2 that were left on the shelf. And I looked through all the different Marios that were there. Well, not different Marios, it's the same fucking Mario figure. They had a decent amount of Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, because those 4 figures, along with Bowser, are the first 4 figures in this wave. I don't know if there's going to be a wave 2, if there's going to be a wave 3, but like most toy lines, there's definitely, should be multiple waves. So I could definitely see, there's Mario, Luigi, Toad, Peach, Bowser, which is great, you know, your basic core characters when it comes to all things Mario related. But if you're like me and you saw the movie trailer, you definitely saw Donkey Kong in there, and Donkey Kong doesn't have a figure, so maybe Donkey Kong is going to get a future at a later date. Maybe the Donkey Kong figure is going to be even the same size as the Bowser figure. That'd be pretty fucking cool. But I'm going to get to him for the Patreon subscribers. I'm going to open up Mario in a little bit, but I want to let everybody know right now I'm in the course of replanning out the next 5 to 10 episodes of Ian vs. Daddybones. I originally had 5 episodes that I was planning to do going forward after episode 20, but basically everything that I ordered has shipped and arrived. Items that I had pre-ordered finally showed up, processed, have been added to loot piles, and have also been shipped. So as of right now, everything that I've been waiting on has officially arrived. So now that the new shit showed up, along with the old shit from last year and the year before that I haven't even gotten to yet on Ian vs. Daddybones, now I have Masterverse and Origins versions of He-Man figures that can now be paired together. So now I could do additional character-specific episodes. So, like, I got my Masterverse Jitsu. So now I could do a Jitsu episode. And what better way to also talk about Jitsu? I could also incorporate his appearance in the brand new Dark Horse Comics Masters of the Universe Masterverse comic book series. I actually just bought the 2nd issue this morning because it was on my wish list. I picked up last month's episode, which I'm going to be doing a video very soon for Patreon subscribers. And that's another thing too. I'm in the process of reevaluating Ian vs. Daddybones right now because everything's going fine with Ian vs. Daddybones. We're chugging the fuck down the track every fucking episode. You know, the Patreon subscribers have been keep coming back. And I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm truly thankful and grateful that you contribute $1 a month to the Patreon. I'm glad you're enjoying the bonus content in addition to the additional content that I'm also putting up on the Patreon. And, you know, just for like the $1, like the simplest way I could give back and say thank you is just to let everyone else that watches this show know that these motherfuckers are responsible for keeping Ian versus Daddybones going and keeping Ian versus Daddybones growing. So I'm truly thankful and grateful to have the Patreon subscribers, but I'm also reevaluating the template of Ian versus Daddybones going forward, because I got the Original Geeks podcast that's about to relaunch shortly, and that's going to be exclusive to the Patreon. The OnlyFans is there. However, OnlyFans is kind of fucking with me because I was trying to have my gameplay streams be available on the OnlyFans, which isn't an issue. What I'm running into a problem is it's the audio from the game. So I'm finding it's becoming more of a bullshit hassle to like ghost the audio, mute the audio, replace it with something else. So what I'm thinking of doing is somehow I'm thinking about incorporating the gameplay streams into the Original Geeks podcast, because the Original Geeks podcast is also, you know, when it's going to be in video format, and there's also going to be interviews, but the interviews may not necessarily, I may not be in a position to film the interviews. I may have to audio record the interviews, but for the audio recorded interviews, I'm going to use some of the gameplay streams as like backing video and whatnot, so, you know, it's not ruining your screens or whatnot as you stream it. But, you know, but basically, soon the Patreon is going to be reevaluated. Basically, the $1 tier is going to stay there eventually at some point, and I think I'm going to use my birthday as a starting point for everything going forward with the, because there's going to be 3 levels, because like, but at this point it's March, so by the time June 22nd hits, everybody that watches the show and even everyone that subscribes to the Patreon knows that. And in June, there's going to be some changes. There's going to be 3 tiers. There's going to be a $1 tier, the $3 tier, and the $5 tier. The $1 tier is pretty much going to be as simple and as close to what it is right now. You subscribe for $1, you get access to the bonus content that I've already done for the first 20 episodes of Ian vs. Daddybones. You get your name in the credits. With the $3 tier, the $1 tier is going to be changing to the fact that you throw me $1 a month to show support for Ian vs. Daddybones, you get your name and the shout out in the credits, but I'm going to be removing the access to the bonus content feature for the $1 subscribers in June. The reason for that, looking back at the analytics, it seems like the mass majority of people subscribing and supporting are just doing it to support the brand. And that's awesome. Thank you. You're helping me grow. With each dollar you throw onto the brand and continue to come back every month, I truly, again, I've already said it multiple times, I'm grateful and thankful for it, but I'm also looking at it from a standpoint of I'm doing bonus content, but not everybody's watching the bonus content. So I'm thinking I'm going to take the bonus content and add a $3 tier. So basically, the current $1 tier is going to be the new $3 tier. And the $1 tier is basically you're just going to get a name and a shout out in the credits for a thank you as a high five for showing support to the show. The $5 tier is going to include the Original Geeks podcast. At this point with the Original Geeks podcast, because I mean I've already discussed it with my wife, like fitting all the time I take to do Ian versus Daddybones, on top of being a stay-at-home dad for half the week, taking care of 3 kids, and then working on the weekends and in the downtime when my wife has her days off, I'm also available to work. So, you know, and with my availability and my schedule, I don't want to put too much on my plate. So the Original Geeks podcast is going to be 2 episodes monthly that are going to be bi-weekly. So for $5 a month, you get 2 episodes of the Original Geeks podcast a month. You get all the bonus content associated with Ian vs. Daddybones, and you get your name in the credits as a high five and a thank you for doing so. And honestly, too, at this point, I think I may even color code the names in the credits for the purpose of who's a $1 subscriber, who's a $2 subscriber, who's a $3 subscriber. I don't know. Some people may be insulted on that. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, hey, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you have the ability and the privilege to inbox me, comment let me know what you think about changes going forward. At this point, March, April, May, June, we got 3 fucking months until the new changes take effect. At least 90 days. So, there you go. But, I also wanted to touch base real quick on last week's episode when I was talking about Rat Lore and Cobra Khan. One thing I failed to mention was in the 2000X reboot of Masters of the Universe, the Mike Young Productions, you had the character of Ratlore, and you had the character of Ratlore, but for whatever purposes, like he wasn't able to be called Ratlore, so they called him the General. And it's actually kind of interesting too because with the most modern version of Masters of the Universe, the Netflix CG He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series, the Snake Men are introduced in this season, but there's like different they used it like Tongue Lasher, Ratlore, and Cobra Khan aren't necessarily 3 Snake Men. They actually represent 3 different tiers within the army. Like you have the Khans, which are the Cobras, and they're able to open their hoods and spit their mist. Then you have the Lashers. They're the lieutenants, so they're level 2. And then you have the top tier, the Generals, which are the Rattlers. So it's kind of neat how like for the like they weren't able to call him Ratlore because of something with like trademark issues. Like Ratlore was being used by either another company or Mattel repurposed it for a different brand at the time or something. Like it was named that like it was a name of a Hot Wheels car or something. Something prevented Mattel from being able to call Ratlore, and they called him the General. And I truly believe I failed to mention that last week. So I just wanted to touch base on that real quick. But looking at my list real quick of things I wanted to touch base about. You could definitely check out more of the Mike Young 2000X Masters of the Universe Rise of the Snake Men, as far as how they were introduced the second time around in 2002, 2003 with that line. The Mattel Action Channel on YouTube actually has those episodes available to watch for free on their YouTube channel. There, you can definitely see how they tried to reintroduce the Snake Men because with the Mike Young production, you had He-Man and the Masters of the Universe for the first season, and then the second season was He-Man and the Masters of the Universe versus the Snake Men. So Skeletor and the Evil Warriors were the threat for the first season. King Hiss and the Snake Men were the threat for the second season. Third season that never happened was supposed to focus on the Evil Horde, and it got its plug pulled and whatnot. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Manuel Eduardo Caritas. Yesterday I decided to check my Instagram, and I noticed I had a shit ton of notifications, so I clicked on the notifications and I noticed an individual was liking a bunch of my pictures and even followed me back on Instagram. And the gentleman that followed me back, Mr. Caritas, is he's an artist for Mattel, and whenever you purchase a Masters of the Universe Origins figure, vehicle, playset, and even some Masters of the Universe Masterverse figures, he does a lot of the artwork for Mattel for the packaging. So like on the back of the card art, you have the illustrated image of like Thunder Punch He-Man fighting like snake troopers and whatnot. You know what I mean? And he's the one that draws all that shit. The dude's art is absolutely sick. You know what I mean? Like I started following him on Instagram a couple of months ago, and he's always posting sneak peeks of upcoming artwork for future Masters of the Universe figures, vehicles, and playsets. He also posts pictures showing works in progress and concepts from ideas to early sketches. project starting to get going, finished project, final art, absolutely sick. Like he did the Castle Grayskull box art for Masters of the Universe Origins. You know what I mean? It's just absolutely fucking sick. And I'm completely honored and thankful that you decided to follow me back on Instagram. So, what's up, sir? I hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you very much for the follow back. But seriously, dudes, between everything that I was able to get caught up on, like, there's so much more shit that's going to be coming in the future episodes of Ian versus Daddybones. I'm talking DC superpowers. I got more of the loyal subjects, BST, AXN, Ninja Turtle figures I've been grabbing. I am officially caught up and current through Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 12. And I'm also keeping an eye out for the new wave of Mattel's WWE Superstars. So there's all sorts of stuff coming soon with Ian versus Daddybones. It's just gonna be a random mix. You never know what to expect each week. Like, this week was supposed to be one thing. It's becoming something else because I saw these guys last week, was able to get my hands on them this week, and I'm super geeked about this Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, because, like, when the pandemic started, right before the pandemic started, one of the last things I was able to do was go and see Sonic the Hedgehog in the theater with my daughter Natalia. And we had no idea at the time that was going to be the last movie we were going to see together for like 3 years. And then when we were able to go back to a movie theater, we watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So it's just weird looking at that time frame between the first movie and the second movie of that entire gap. You know, you weren't able to go to a movie theater, and it's still fucking weird looking back on the whole experience. But you want to talk about weird looking back on experiences, like, a lot of what I'm talking about on Ian vs. Daddybones is my favorite brands and stuff from when I was a kid that I get to revisit as an adult. And let's be real, a lot of it I never walked away from. I never abandoned. You know, that my love for He-Man was always in the back of my head. Even when I was in my early 20s and the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series was on Cartoon Network, you know what I mean? I was like all about it. I was hoping that toy line and that cartoon show was going to be super successful. You know, that Mike Young series was absolutely sick as far as like the animation style, because it's like, it wasn't just anime at the time, like, you know what I mean, was starting to blow up in the United States. So for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe to basically get that anime look to its design was absolutely sick. It was really enjoyable. But like, my whole shit with like favorite brands and whatnot, you know, the saying, I never grew up, really. I never really grew up when it came to some things. Always been a Nintendo fan, and you know, Mario and Bowser have always been a major part of my life going back to my childhood. So it's like, I look back on the last time there was a Super Mario Brothers movie. You know what I mean? It's like, I was 13 years old, and you wanted it to be good. You wanted it to be good, even though you knew from the pictures, any early leaks, like at the time, like, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the internet like that back then. So a lot of your movie information came from like movie and cinema magazines. You know what I mean? With it being Super Mario Brothers, the majority of your information came from video game magazines like GamePro, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Nintendo Power. You know what I mean? So the information you were given was the information you were given. It was limited, and everybody always seemed to have the same pictures, the same information, so it's like nobody had like one leg up on the other when it came to having information about Super Mario Brothers. And it's one of those things where even before it came out, you had the development process, the early production, even in post-production, you know, they revealed the cast, you know, with Dennis Hopper as Koopa, and it's fucking weird, because it's like, always got creepy Donald Trump vibe from Dennis Hopper, the way he played Koopa in that movie. And even now, looking back and like after Trump's been president, like it was always like it was President Koopa. You know what I mean? And so it's like it was eye rolling back then when it was like Dennis Hopper is Koopa. Like he doesn't even look like fucking Koopa. Like he doesn't look like Bowser at all. You know what I mean? And then you had Bob Hoskins, Eddie Valiant, Roger Rabbit looking ass playing Mario, the most iconic video game character at that point in history since Pac-Man. And they sure as fuck weren't making a Pac-Man movie. But like Eddie Valiant, really, they couldn't cast anybody else in Hollywood. Nobody else in Hollywood was available to play Mario. But Bob Hoskins, I feel Danny DeVito would have played a much better fucking Mario than Bob Hoskins. Like, John Leguizamo, I can't even really shit on. Because I'm going to be honest, if anything, I really liked John Leguizamo's portrayal of Luigi in that movie. Like, I had no problem with the way he played Luigi. If anything, him playing Luigi was actually one of the enjoyable parts of the movie. I mean, even the Goomba, even like the whole, oh my god, Toad got turned into a Goomba, what the fuck, was enjoyable. You know what I mean? But overall, the frickin' movie was a steaming pile of shit. You know, it's been 30 years at this point. Everybody and their mother doing YouTube videos and whatnot, and has done Super Mario Brother reviews. Oh, and I have a little production alarm going on, and it didn't. There we go. Start it over, bitch. But yeah, I had a little production alarm I had to do a little edit to let me know how much time I had left on the camera. Because Buddy Misters isn't here again this week. And it's nothing bad on Buddy Misters. It's actually kind of funny. Because when I was getting ready to come down here today to film the show, Owen was like, how come I can't come down and do the episode with you tonight? You haven't let me come down in 2 weeks. And I had to remind him, I didn't not let you come down the past 2 weeks. You chose not to do Ian versus Daddybones the last 2 weeks. Remember, you weren't feeling good? You didn't go to school on Monday because you weren't feeling good. So if you're not going to school and you're not feeling good, you don't need to come down to Grandma's house and film the show with Dad. So you know what I mean? I kept him away so like he wasn't spreading germs and shit. So it's like, nah, dude, you're not in trouble. But with the weather this week, basically this episode's gonna be delayed because Monday, Tuesday we were supposed to get a shit ton of snow, and I wanted to do the episode Monday. Because the roads weren't looking that bad. I had to work Monday morning, and when I got out of work, when I got done with work and drove home, the roads weren't that bad. The snow hasn't really began, and I was what do you call it? I wanted to go out and film the episode, but my wife was nervous with the weather warning and the weather advisory we were under for the county because the school already canceled school for the next day. Everybody was getting nervous. The kids had to do remote learning and shit like that. So, and my wife was fearful that, hey, the roads are okay now, but as soon as you leave the house, that's when all the snow's gonna come. All the snow's gonna come, and you're gonna get trapped. And we got front wheel drive, and our car's not gonna make it, and you know, so I had to listen to my wife, and I wasn't able to go out and play with myself, so I had to stay home and play with myself. But the next day I wanted to do an episode. I wanted to knock out the episode, but again, the snow was supposed to continue. We barely got anything. I mean, everybody's talking all this shit on like local news message boards for like the weather and whatnot, being like, hey, where the fuck was all this snow? You know, so it is what it is, but the show got delayed because of the weather and whatnot. But yeah, looking back though on the Super Mario Brothers movie, so I can crack this fucker open and get out of here for the day. Basically with the Super Mario Brothers movie, it was a huge disappointment, but like I said, I didn't have an issue with John Leguizamo. Because even at that point in his career, like, I mean, with Bob Hoskins, I only knew him as Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And with John Leguizamo, I was still pretty new to him. It's pretty much everything after Super Mario Brothers that John Leguizamo did would always make me remember who John Leguizamo was, because I'll always remember him for being Luigi. You know what I mean? So when he was in the Romeo and Juliet with guns and cars, you know, he was in that. I remember John Leguizamo when he had his own In Living Color style spin-off rip-off show, House of Buggin'. You know what I mean? And John Leguizamo in various roles as his career would go on, and even after I graduated high school, you know, I remember John Leguizamo in the movie The Pest, and that's that. So, you know, again, there's so many videos on YouTube of everybody and their mother giving a review of the original Super Mario Brothers movie, and I agree with the mass majority of all of them. It was a steaming pile of shit. And it's been 30 years since they decided to make a Super Mario Brothers movie, as I'm going to start opening up this Mario. It's been 30 years since they made a Super Mario Brothers movie, and at least going into everything we know about this Super Mario Brothers movie, Illumination, the animation studio behind all things Minions and Despicable Me, had the responsibility of making Mario look like $1 million. I mean, at this point, by the time you're watching this episode of the show, I'm pretty sure you've already seen quite a few different Super Mario Brothers movie trailers. As I'm trying to baby these seals up, baby the seal off so it doesn't damage the box. But you know, I mean, it looks like they're gonna have a hit on their hands. For all the wonderful reviews that the Despicable Me and Minions movies have had, it looks like Super Mario Brothers is going to be pretty fucking epic. And I will say for the moment, I do like how Mario easily just slid out of his packaging. So even if I want to put him back in the box after I open him, it's nice to know I can do so. Bowser, I could already tell since he's held in there with little ties, that he may be a little bit more difficult, but we'll see when we get there. Well, actually, you can see when I get there if you throw me $1 on the Patreon. But let's go ahead and get Mario out of here. But no, like, you know, you got Illumination handling it, and you know, it's weird because it's like I remember when like the first Despicable Me movie came out, like when I first saw the first trailer for that. Oh yeah, this should be absolutely amazing to put back in this packaging. It sounds like just breaking crap. Well, I don't know, some of you people get off on this sound, so like, oh my god, play with the plastic. Play with it. There we go, got him out, finally, Jesus Christ. Well, I may put him back in there. I think I'm going to do so. But either way, I'm going to hold on to the box. Yeah, I do that. I hold on to my packaging. I play with my package. Go back in the little box. Oh, there's this little fucking hook. Yeah, he's got these like little peg hooks on the back. And I don't know. I mean, he seems pretty light in your box, like in the box. So I don't know how some people display. Like honestly, I know some people like taking like simple push pins and like putting them on your wall. You know what I mean? And just hanging your action figure on the hook for your display. I feel confident that even the box packaging with this would hang pretty decent. But looking at the Mario figure, I can definitely say he's really fucking articulated. Like, look at this shit. Like, his arms roll around, they go up, they go down, so he's got the dope shoulder joints. He's got ball joints on his elbows, which is pretty cool. His elbows can maneuver around and shit. His wrists rotate. Head rotates. Looks like the hat is firm. The hat is firm, the hat does not come off. His knees bend. His knees bend, which is kind of cool. It makes it could look like he's running. But I can say, cause like I got a lot of friends that are photographers, and I've been telling a lot of my photographer friends that you know, I really think y'all should invest in like action figures and whatnot. And shout out to Movie Mike, because I know Movie Mike's been picking up some action figures and taking some pictures of stuff that he's been grabbing. And you know, this Mario definitely looks like it's the type of action figure that would take wonderful pictures. He comes with an accessory. He comes with a plunger, which, I mean, I don't know, it's weird. For Mario being a plumber, do you ever notice that Mario never really uses anything plumbing related? I mean, yeah, he jumps into pipes, but like, you would think Mario would have like a melee wrench. You know what I mean? Like, even with the plunger, you think Mario, like, you know, I'm not like, I remember back in the day on the Sega Genesis, I had a game that I wanted because some of the Disney Genesis games just looked super sick with the pixel art, right? So I had Quackshot starring Donald Duck, and it was kind of like an Indiana Jones spoof, where like Donald Duck was the explorer, and like Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Launchpad were involved in the game, and you know, and like even the Quackshot like font was like an Indiana Jones ripoff, and fucking Donald Duck in that game, like he had a plunger gun, and he had like different plungers that he could use as like weapons and shit. And it's just, I remember playing Quackshot back when I was like 12, or no, when I got my Genesis on my 13th birthday. I didn't even have Quackshot until I was like 13, 14. But anyways, when I got Quackshot and I was playing Quackshot and noticing that Donald had the plunger gun, I remember being 13 years old wondering, like, why didn't Mario, like, shoot plungers or anything? Why didn't Mario have, like, a plunger gun? Like, it seemed to be kind of cool, like, with some of, you know what I mean? Like, if Mario had a plunger gun, you know, for all those anxiety-given gaps, you know, that, you know, when you gotta make those crazy-ass jumps and, like, clear this huge-ass gap just to land on one little fucking block, just to do it again, to beat the level. You know, if, like, Mario was able to shoot plungers and stuck the walls that he was able to jump off and shit, you know, it's little things like that I remember thinking about as I was like playing Quackshot and whatnot. But yeah, like Mario never really used any plumbing accessories or any plumbing anything. And I mean, the original Super Mario Brothers movie, they had promotional art, like posters and shit, where it showed like Mario and Luigi with like wrenches and whatnot, and I believe one of them had a plumber, and I believe the original Super Mario Brothers movie toys even had, like, they came with wrenches or a plunger and whatnot. So it's not new, but it's still unique at the same time, especially given the fact that, yeah, it's been 30 years since we've gotten a Super Mario Brothers movie, but they've been putting out Super Mario Brothers toys, action figures, figurines for years, and while I'm not new to Jakks Pacific, I've known about Jakks Pacific for years. I mean, at this point, the WWE Jakks Pacific figures that came out in the 90s is what introduced me to Jakks, and at this point, I've done plenty of research on the history of Jakks Pacific and its ties to the old LJN. And, you know, everything about it. And, you know, so Jakks has been making Mario merchandise and putting out Mario figures for years. But these are the official movie figures. And I do gotta say, like, I mean, the back of the box says, realistic eyes, premium details, 16 points of articulation. And that's pretty much standard with like most regular action figures. Like my Masters of the Universe Origins figures are 16 points of articulation. So, I mean, Mario moves in the same places basically that my He-Man figures do. Even though I can honestly say that I think the Mario figures have better elbows than the Origins figures, but at the same time, it's a different scale. I mean, this is basically like a 4.5 inch, almost 5 inch Mario figure. I mean, he's fun. It's a fun Mario figure, you know? It doesn't, like, I've had Mario toys before, but any Mario toy I ever had, it was always a Mario figurine. You know what I mean? It was always Mario making the same pose, whether it was a Mario wearing the Fire Flower outfit where it looks like he's throwing a fireball, or it's Mario doing this, you know what I mean? Or it's Mario in the Tanuki suit. So, it's interesting being able to, like, play with this Mario and, like, move him around in his arms and move his head and whatnot. And his eyes are really neat. I don't know how well you can see that, but he has what's being featured as realistic eyes, and it's like he has doll eyes for an action figure. Like, it looks like the eyes are, like, set inside his face, but it also looks like there's, like, a thin clear coat over the eye, over the eye. You know what I mean? So his eyes really have that reflective shine, and like they said, realistic looking eyes, and it seriously does. I'm, like, super impressed with this Mario figure. There's 3 other figures in the line. You got Luigi, you got Toad, you got Princess Peach. I think Luigi comes with a flashlight. I know Peach comes with her parasol umbrella. And Toad, I'm trying to think what the fuck Toad comes with. I don't want to say he comes with a map. Maybe he comes with a hammer or something like that, or a pickaxe or something. All I know is Toad comes with an accessory that holds in his hand, but Toad is also wearing a backpack, so his accessory can go in his backpack and whatnot. And they have the same articulation. I mean, except Peach. Peach, I don't believe, has the 16 points of articulation because she's wearing a dress from the waist down. So since she's wearing a dress from the waist down, she doesn't actually have articulated legs, which I think's kind of weak, but it is what it is. Now, in this Super Mario Brothers movie toy line toys, you got this line of action figures, which is your main action figures for the movie line. But you also have a series of mini figures where they're like 2-inch tall versions of the characters, and these are in like mini play sets. So if you're if you're an adult like me who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, but we're focusing on the 90s right now with what I'm getting at. In the 90s, girls had Polly Pocket, boys had Mighty Max, but also boys had Mighty Max rip-offs from other brands. Like, there was like tons of these like micro Marvel play sets where X-Men related, Spider-Man related, Incredible Hulk related, where it came with like Wolverine and Sabretooth in this play set, or Cyclops and Juggernaut came with this play set. But that's basically what they also have with the Super Mario Brothers movie. They got Peach's Castle, which looks exactly like it does in Super Mario 64, and even modern version of Mario games where you've seen Peach's Castle as it looked in Mario 64, only now it looks super better because now you're seeing Peach's Castle on the GameCube. Now you're seeing Peach's Castle on the Wii. Now you're seeing Peach's Castle on the Switch. You know what I mean? With every new Mario game. It's funny how with like classic franchises, with every new game, especially on a brand new piece of hardware and a new console, it's always wonderful going back to old locations, seeing how they look new on this modern hardware, and that's one of the things. Like, Peach's Castle has always been one of those iconic landmark video game locations, so having a playset where you have your own little mini Peach's Castle that you could put on display anywhere is totally fucking dope. So you got Peach's Castle, and the thing with Peach's Castle is on the front, it looks like Peach's Castle. From the back, that's where the hidden doors are, because it opens up from the back and opens up, and when you turn it around and look at it from the back, like, you know in the Mario trailer, how it shows like Peach introducing Mario to like a training level so Mario can figure out like what to do in the Mushroom Kingdom and shit? Basically, that's what Peach's Castle opens up and do. like the obstacle course training level. So you can take the little 2-inch figures and your kid or you can play. Like if your girlfriend dumps you and now you're lonely and, you know, instead of harming yourself, doing like drugs or drinking or even self-harm, like you can play with your toys. So if you take little tiny figures, you can go through the little obstacle course and whatnot, because I believe the Peach's Castle comes with a Peach and a Mario, but they also have these question block playsets that each come with a figure. So there's like a Toad, there's a Luigi, there's I believe there's like a Koopa Troopa and whatnot, and you get these question blocks and they open up like the top comes up and the sides come down or whatever the fuck, and you got the little play sets and shit. So and they come with the same size, like 2-inch figures, so you can mix and match and whatnot. And they also have, since they showed a shit ton of Mario Kart related footage in the trailers, there's definitely like Mario Kart vehicles related to the movie that each come with a rider, and the riders are mix and match, so you can take them out of their vehicles and shit. So, you know, Nintendo and Illumination are definitely going all out with the first run new Super Mario Brothers movie merch, and it's absolutely sick. Like, I mean, I at this point, I just need Luigi, Peach, and Toad to be complete with the first wave. And, you know, based on opening up the Mario figure, I already know what to expect with Luigi. The same point, 16 points of articulation. Same thing with Toad, only he's got his short little ass body. And Peach, like I said, she's wearing a dress. But, you know, with future waves, who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, at this point, I think everybody's expecting and predicting this movie to be a fucking spring hit. And it very well should be. I mean, it deserves to be. Like, this Super Mario Brothers movie deserves some good shit, because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, but when it comes to, like, future figures, I don't know if there's going to be a Wave 2. You know what I mean? For all I know, I could actually Google it later to see if there's a Wave 2 in the works, and next week's episode, I may have some updated information for you. But, I mean, considering you just got basically Bowser, Mario, and friends, there's no other enemies at this point. You know what I mean? So, like, they could make a hammer, but like there's no Kamek, there's no Donkey Kong, there's no Koopa Troopa, there's no Goomba or Goombas. I would like to think that they would at least include like 2 or 3 Goombas if you're gonna sell Goombas. Like, it'd be kind of a ripoff if you're expecting me to pay $20 for one little fucking Goomba. You know what I mean? Especially if the Goomba itself is gonna be the same size as Toad's fucking head, and he at least has a torso and legs. You better give me a second Goomba. But yeah, like, you know, there's no other enemy characters. I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind getting a Drybones. I'm gonna be honest. My favorite Mario Brothers character is definitely Drybones. I fucking love Drybones. But yeah. So who the hell knows if there's gonna be other figures with the Super Mario Brothers? We'll cross that bridge when we'll get there. We'll see what happens. At this point, the movie comes out in like just over 2.5 weeks, and Natalia's excited for it. I'm excited for it. We've been watching all the new trailers as they've been coming out, and it looks really sick. You know, I could honestly say Chris Pratt voicing Mario does not bother me, because I've had plenty of time in years to get accustomed to Chris Pratt. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't watch Parks and Recreation like a lot of people did, so I'm not really too familiar with, I mean, I have since watched that show on like Netflix and Hulu and shit over the years, but when it was in its prime, I wasn't watching it, you know what I mean? I didn't really care about it. It didn't interest me. But I got introduced to Chris Pratt through like Jurassic World, you know, the Lego movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, so I've been familiar with Chris Pratt over the years, and, you know, to a degree, I don't mind him. You know, but I kind of did have the same reaction as everybody else in the beginning when he got announced that he was going to be voicing Mario, because I look at it like this. It was 1996 when I heard Mario actually have a voice. Now, people could say what they want, that Captain Lou Albano played Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and, well, he gave Mario a voice when he was telling everyone to swing your arms from side to side. I get that. And there were even other cartoons and whatnot. I get that. There was even a Japanese, like, animated Super Mario Brothers movie. I get it. But that didn't count. It didn't count. You know why? It didn't count because it wasn't Mario's voice in a game. He did not get his voice in an actual Nintendo game until Super Mario Brothers 64. And the minute you booted up your Nintendo 64, like, I have wonderful memories of that. Like, my first job was working at McDonald's, summer of 1996, when Kurt Angle won 2 gold medals with a broken frickin' neck. Ian Daddybones was working at a McDonald's the summer of 1996 in Clifton Park, New York, and while everybody else that was 16 at the time was trying to get their permit and trying to get a car, I wasn't even trying to worry about a car at that point. I'll get to that story at another time. But basically, I was working, and my very first, like, goal, now that I'm able to work and make money, while everyone else wanted to save up for a car and shit, I was a nerdy geeky gamer. I don't hide that, never have. I was saving up because I wanted to be the first kid on my street to have a Nintendo 64. I wanted to pre-order the Nintendo 64, so I was guaranteed one the day it released. And I remember going to Babbage's, which, like, back in the day, kids, in the 90s, you know, today you have GameStop, but back in the day, it was a bunch of there was a bunch of all sorts of different brands and gaming stores. There was Software, etc., Babbage's, Electronics Boutique, and like Babbage's and Software, etc. were like always the same company, but then they just basically became GameStop. But then GameStop wound up purchasing Electronics Boutique, and now we have GameStop as we all have today, and everybody hates GameStop. But back in the day, when it was a bunch of smaller brand mall shops, I purchased my Nintendo 60, pre-ordered my Nintendo 64 at Babbage's. It was $250. Mario 64 was $75. So when that day came where I came home from school, and I had no idea that my mom got the phone call from Babbage's that my mom went to the mall while I was at school, got my Nintendo 64 and my Mario 64, had that shit waiting for me on my bed when I got home from school, and you know, I spent that entire Friday evening, Saturday night, Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, until my mom was like, "Ian, enough already. Turn it off for the night. You have school in the morning." So it's like, I was, you know, I was all about that the first time I turned on that system and I got to hear Mario say, "It's me, Mario." You know what I mean? And ever since then, Charles Martinet has been the voice of Mario. You know, I truly feel that Charles Martinet should have gotten the opportunity to be Mario in this movie. Because Bob Hoskins and everybody associated with that original Super Mario Brothers movie, like, just created a steaming pile of shit that has smelled so bad for the past 30 years. Nobody wanted to touch the brand, even though it's money. And Nintendo didn't trust anybody to do it. Because the last time they trusted a studio to handle it correctly, they completely fucked it up. And it's one of those type of things where, like, the original Super Mario Brothers movie was so bad that it's good. Because while you can watch it, it's absolutely terrible for the fact that it's a Super Mario Brothers movie. But you can it still has its moments that makes it enjoyable, even, you know what I mean? Even though it's a steaming pile of shit, there's still little pieces of corn that's still good. You know what I mean? That's like the only way I could really put it. Like, the movie's a bunch of crap, but there's still pieces of corn that probably, if you just wash it off, you could probably re-eat that. But I can say, at the end of the day, my daughter Natalia and I are super looking forward to this movie. I'm already planning on buying it digitally when it's available, and based on the fact that it's Illumination, I just want to throw it out there, and I want to call it, and I would like to think that Super Mario Brothers is going to be going to Peacock when it's available for streaming, but we will get there when we get there, and if I'm right on my prediction, you can high-five me for being correct by subscribing to the Patreon for just $1 for 30 days of bonus content, because I'm going to get out of here momentarily, and I am going to be opening up... Shut up, timer. You're interrupting my show. I'm trying to end the goddamn episode, and it won't let me do it because it had to give me my notification beep. But I'm going to get ready to open up this Bowser for the Patreon subscribers. I mean, look at this. I mean, I will share this with y'all. Like, look how big he is. Like, put Mario in front of him. This is the scale. Bowser is supposed to be this big standing next to Mario. So, I can't wait to get him out of the box. He looks absolutely sick, just chilling in the box. You turn it on the side, and as you can see, his mouth is lit up red, and I'll be getting to that in a moment. But his mouth lights up red because he takes 2 AA batteries, and there's a red light bulb in his mouth. But apparently, you can put water in him, and he will vaporize a mist to make it look like he's breathing fire. And I just think that is absolutely sick. And I can't wait to open him up and check that out and see what this Bowser is all about. But I want to thank everybody for watching the show today. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble on and open up this Mario figure. I think he looks absolutely sick. So if you're out and about, like I found mine at Target. I'm pretty sure he's available at other stores as well. So if you see these Mario figures anywhere and you're interested in picking them up, highly recommend it. Honestly, as far as like kids playing with them, I mean, it's made by Jax. Jax toys are pretty good. I know a lot of people have some complaints about stuff Mattel and Hasbro have been putting out, like whether or not it's aimed at collectors or whether or not it's aimed at children. I will feel confident as your friendly neighborhood Daddybones, letting you know that I think these toys are perfect for your kids to play with. And even if they're like under, like right now, like Sadie Two Dope's gonna be 3 this summer, so I got a 2.5-year-old right now, and I would feel confident letting Sadie play with these. Like I feel this Mario figure would fit in nicely with her He-Man and the Masters of the Universe figures, because I would definitely love to see Skeletor face off against Bowser over there. But yes, my name is Ian Daddybones. Please head to the YouTube channel, throw me a subscribe. We're almost at 200 subscribers, and that's all I'm trying to do is get more subscribers to subscribe to the channel. And I don't know, man. It's definitely a goal. My son watches a lot of YouTube channels. He sees a lot of people bragging about their silver YouTube plaques, and he helps me out a lot with Ian versus Daddybones, and that's definitely one of my goals with this fucking show. Is I want to take this shit to the next level, and I want to earn my son a silver YouTube plaque. So I would appreciate all the support you can give me. Share the links, like the post, interact, comment. Seriously. Subscribe to the Patreon, all the bonus content that you can't watch right now on YouTube. It's like you're getting a second show in addition to the main show you get for free. So if you believe in me for 30 days, I do not think you will be disappointed. So until then, cheers, Pete!